Now today I'm going to take this ropey old piece of teak that used to be part of a worktop of some sort and make it into something very special. Let's get tinkering. Now I have to say I wasn't actually going to make anything from this piece of wood. As I sliced it, an idea suddenly came to me of what I could use it for. So rather than just using it to test the new bandsaw blade, I thought, well, let's see if we can now use these pieces for something constructive and make something beautiful from it. Now for what I have in mind, I don't need the whole thickness of this board, so I'm going to slice it on the bandsaw. Now I've just got new bandsaw blades from Yandles, and boy are they good. My bandsaw goes through this like it was butter, and the finish I get is amazing. I'm really surprised at how much better they are than the blade that came with the machine. Don't know why I should be surprised, because everyone said the blades that come with them aren't very good. I thought the blade that it came with was pretty good, but these Yandle blades seem to be much better. So with this sudden burst of inspiration, I had a route around to see what else I could find. I found this board here, which is part of an old table. It's also teak, sort of matched nicely. And I've got this nice piece of ash. It's only a very small piece, but it was given to me and I made a knife handle from a piece of it, and this is the bit that's left over. And I thought I might be able to make use of the fact that the ash is a lighter colour than the teak and see if I can use that as part of the design. Now these boards both have their problems. I've got a little nail mark there, and I've got just the edge of a crack here. It only goes in about 0.5 millimetre, but it's there nonetheless. So I'm going to make that the back, and then if I look at this piece, I can see I've just got some marks here which are a bit weird. They're not cracks, they're just where the wood's a bit darker, but it looks like there's a little nail mark there as well. But this side is a lot nicer, so I'm going to use this side as well. So these two will probably go like that. And when I was looking for a board, I was really looking for something a little bit wider than this. So my plan is to make it wider, or to make use of the fact that it isn't wider. I'm going to put this board on the back like that, and then I've still got the full width of this board to use. And then this board, I'm going to cut it a bit smaller, tidy it up, and it's probably going to go there like that. Don't worry if you don't know what I'm doing, because I don't really know what I'm doing either. One of these slices, which is going to be the front, I'm going to take about 1 inch off the bottom, just because I want it to be a little bit smaller. And for this board, which is going to be the base, I'm going to cut it to size. I now need to tweak the edge of the base so that it's the same angle as this piece. So I'm going to adjust the blade to this angle using the piece as a guide, and then I'll be able to make the cut on the base so that it's the same angle. And with the blade now angled, I can trim the end. And I'll trim the other end to the same angle. Now this wood is far from perfect, so I'm going to tidy it up on the bench sander. I use a bandsaw to clean up the front face, and now I'm going to cut a couple of thin strips, about maybe 1 or 2 millimeters thick. I'm now going to cut out some triangles. So I forgot to turn the camera on, but these are the 4 pieces that I cut out. This project is as much about form as it is about function, so I need to get the aesthetics of this right. And this is supposed to represent a mountain scene, and I don't think it's quite right. I'm thinking that if I move this in a little, perhaps to there, that it looks better. I think, I'm not 100% sure. Or perhaps even like that. That's quite nice, I think. But I also think that this, which is going to be the snow on the mountain peaks on this mountain, is a little bit too large. The snow line's too low. So I need to cut a little piece off of this ash so I can make this triangle a little smaller. So I think this is now looking how I want it. I just now need to trim the end off of this so that it matches the end here. So with that base trimmed, I think it's now looking like I want it to look. Now I had intended to go the lazy route of just sticking the ash on top of the teak, and I knew this was wrong and I wasn't particularly comfortable with it, but I am inherently lazy. I spoke to my son about it, who I've helped make a few guitars, and he's a reasonably accomplished woodworker now. And he said, you know, Dad, if you're going to do it, you should do it properly, and he is completely right. So I am now going to chisel out little recesses so that the snow-covered peaks are actually flush, or perhaps maybe slightly proud of the mountains. He did add that it was always good to practice these skills, and that the reason I was hesitating about doing it is because I'm not good enough at it, and that I really need to practice. And he is completely right. Here goes nothing. Let's practice doing a little bit of chiselling. You can have a bit of a giggle if I do it wrong while you're watching. So she's now recessed. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to keep it slightly proud like it is at the moment, or if I shall sand it flush. So I'm keeping my options open, but at the moment I'm pretty happy with that. It looks a little bit darker here. There isn't a gap. It's a combination of a pencil line and the fact that this piece here slightly protrudes, creating a little bit of a shadow. Once this edge is sanded, it'll look the same as this end here. Now, I'm not exactly experienced when it comes to using a chisel, but I've done a few bits and pieces. So the way I'm approaching this is I've scored the line with my marking knife, and then putting the chisel into that line to make it a little bit deeper using the chisel and the mallet, and then creating a V using the chisel, so that I've got a very clear definition between the bit that I want to remove and the bit that I want to keep, and I'm then just flattening it off with the chisel. I'm taking it pretty slowly. I'll now glue these two on so they can be drying whilst I'm working on chiselling the other two pieces. I need to cut a groove in the board that's going to become the base, and because I'm cutting a groove and it's non-through cut, I can't use the riving knife or the crown guard, so I've taken those off and I've set the blade to the height that I need to be, which in this case is 1 centimetre, 10mm or 2/5 of an inch. I need to sand the varnish off of this board and just tidy it up, so I'm going to sand it using my sanding station. This fits into the dog holes of the bench and therefore is really secure, and it uses the whole weight of the bench to hold it in place. I can now begin sanding these boards, and for this I'm mainly using the sanding station to help grip the board, to stop it from moving. I can now glue the backboard to the base. Now, I'm not sure if this is a nail hole or a knot, but it's a little bit unsightly, so I'm going to see if I can deal with it using some CA glue and some sawdust from the sanding. I had been happy with the sanding on this front piece until I actually glued it, and then I looked at it again and I wasn't completely happy. So I'm now in the position of having to sand something that could have been really easy to sand, but is now very difficult to sand. But hey ho. And I'm now ready to finish this by adding some oil. I started to add the oil and it's highlighted where I've got some glue on the surface, so I need to rub that down. Well, we're near the end now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions or comments about this project, or anything you've seen me do or heard me say, then please leave them in the comments. And if you know someone that might like this video, then please share it. Just click the share button. That would be great. It would really help this channel out. Goodbye for now, and thanks for watching.